Hello everyone, welcome to my first episode. What is this called? Tales from Stardust? Stardust reactions, interactions with me? I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. You know what I'm gonna call it, because obviously by the time you see this, it'll be up. But basically in my last Tales from the comment section video, I said I'd do some Stardust interactions, kind of in the vein of that. And then in my Black Panther spoiler talk, I said, hey, this is the one, so do your Black Panther reactions on Stardust, tag me in them, then I'll pick and choose some and then react to those. In this digital wonderland, it'll be like an interaction, but not actually an interaction. But with the power of editing, it is an interaction. Whatever, I'm lonely. So these are some of your Stardust reactions. I'm gonna get into them in a second. Some disclaimers. One, this does contain some spoilers. So if you haven't seen Black Panther yet, it's gonna get spoiled. Been a couple weeks, that's enough time. And two, I actually had a lot of people submit, so if you did submit one, you don't see it here. Safe to say, to a degree, I understand what the judges on America's Got Talent feel like. Really hard to whittle down like that, just is. And most importantly, please keep in mind these reactions are people who came out to play, they came to have fun. Not that I'm saying the YouTube comment section is by default a venomous toxic cesspool, so I'm just saying it can be. So if you're gonna be like a shit, consider them off limits. Just don't be a dick, that's all I'm saying. All right, so let's just get into it. Stardust reactions, this one first.
Could not get enough of Letitia Wright as Shuri in Black Panther. She's the scene stealer, she's intelligent, adorable, charismatic. She is the Q to T'Challa's 007. And all I kept thinking every time I'm watching her is, man, I would love to see her in a room with Tony Stark, with Robert Downey Jr., and he's underestimating her, and she's like, all right, listen, old dude, I got some tricks up my sleeve, and you're gonna find out. Do you think we'll see something like that in Infinity War?
Thank you for the reaction, man. Definitely on the same page with Shuri. Have myself a crush going on with her. Yes, I find intelligent women attractive. Try not to faint. But I do agree the scenario begs itself to happen. Two tech geniuses in the same room together, that needs to happen. Every bit as much as Tony Stark and Bruce Banner had to be in a room together for Avengers, like they have to be in a room together somehow. A lot's gonna happen in Infinity War. I don't know if they'll have time, but a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist in a room with genius, confident royalty? Come on. Pepper Potts did make an honest man out of Tony Stark. If that had not happened, probably be a little more interesting, but I still want to see it.
I just saw Black Panther. I thought it was really great, especially because of Killmonger. He was really awesome as a villain, because like he made people question their values and how they run Wakanda. But I did notice that he's kind of just the typical Marvel villain of they're just the evil version of the protagonist. So I was wondering if you agree that that actually worked in that movie, or if you're actually kind of sick of them keeping doing this, but I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, I do see that a lot. There are a lot of Marvel movies, or even comic book movies in general, where it's like you have the hero, and then the villain is ultimately a bad version of the hero in terms of tech or superpowers. Iron Man did that, Doctor Strange did that, Captain America Winter Soldier with Bucky, they did that, Superman, Zod, Green Lantern, Sinestro. But for me, what makes the villain isn't really their suit or their tech. It's their ideology. I like the ideology that conflicts with the hero's ideology. That's where I'm interested. If you look at Killmonger, he's only ever a Black Panther opposite at the very end, like the last part of the last act of the movie. Other than that, he's a dude who's like, hey, you're not doing a good enough job. I'm gonna get shit done. And that's where Killmonger is interesting. They only put him in a cat suit for the same reason anyone ever puts the villain in a suit or gives them abilities that can rival the heroes. So they can have a big beefy fight at the end of the movie.
Pretty good. The pacing suffered a little bit and also suffered from that classic Marvel humor, which I don't mind, but I wish they would stop putting it in serious scenes because it totally takes away any effect they have. Also, Killmonger was a great villain. I think he was one of the standouts for Marvel. Finally, they get away from like the generic kind of ones they usually have. And also, do you think that Black Panther will die with T'Challa since they burned all the flowers to give him his power?
Sticking to the end part of that reaction because that's what grabbed me. That is a fair point. If they burned all the flowers, that makes the Black Panther... That's a fair point. If they burned all the flowers, that makes the Black Panther Black Panther. Is there going to be another That is a great point. If they burned all the flowers, that makes Black Panther Black Panther. Is there going to be another Black Panther? There has to be that flower somewhere else, right? Somewhere in some weird cave somewhere. Imagine if that was the case, they wouldn't have to steal one. So yeah, this might be the last generation of Black Panther.
You know, my big problem with Black Panther was its predictability. Is that a word, predictability? Yeah, as soon as, like, stuff started happening, I could piece together what was happening in my mind. I know I should avoid that when I'm watching a Marvel movie, but I think that this MCU movie just didn't... It just lacked the twists and stuff that I expected for blockbusters like this. That said, I love this movie, but my big problem was that it was easily predictable. I could easily see what was coming in the future.
Appreciate the comment. Predictability is the word you're looking for, but I totally get where you're coming from. In your defense, my man, you know how many times I've filmed a review, not even noticed I've said the wrong word or mispronounced a word. Then I'm editing and hours later I'm like, that is not the word. Then I have to turn on all the filming equipment just to say the word correctly in the sentence. However, in terms of predictability, you're a big movie fan, aren't you? I can tell because you have seen too much. You've seen so many movies, you've seen it all, and you can kind of see where the path is going. I've been there too. It's a burden among we movie fans.
Seeing Black Panther for the second time it just confirms what I thought about it when I saw it for the first time, which is it's an amazing movie. Not perfect, but it taught you something. And it's very different from other MCU movies because of the message that was put into this movie. If we all can just come together and work together, we can become a better nation, we can become a better world. And Killmonger taught T'Challa that. And I feel like this movie needs to be heard.
I agree, there are two kinds of blockbusters out there. There are the blockbusters that are just for fun entertainment, and there are blockbusters that are there for fun entertainment, but they leave you with something. You walk away with something to ponder. Black Panther was one of those, and it really hits it home in that first end credit scene where T'Challa's talking to the UN. He's like, okay, here we are. We all just come together, things will be better. Our way thus far isn't really working. Killmonger's way isn't working. There's another one. But I'm glad this was a movie that let you, me, a lot of people walk away with something deeper.
I love this movie. Great world building, great characters, great score. I'm in love with Okoye now. My only gripes are with some pacing issues, and I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the action scenes. But besides that, perfect film. My question to you, my friend, what do you think they're gonna do with the inevitable sequel? Love to catch a movie with you sometime, man.
Just so you know, watching a movie with me is the most boring experience ever. When I watch a movie, I just pay attention to the movie. I don't talk in the movie. I barely make any sounds in the movie. I will laugh. So you might as well watch a movie next to an empty chair. I'm just saying it's the same effect. What are they gonna do for the sequel? That's a good question. Well, the sequel should springboard off of what the previous movie established, where the previous movie left off. Only thing is there is Infinity War in between there, so are they gonna springboard off of where Infinity War was, or are they gonna springboard off of where this was? Either case, it should have something to do with opening their country to the rest of the world, the truth of their country to the rest of the world. I feel like inevitably the governments of the world will want to weaponize the Wakandan tech. They're gonna be like, Loki invaded, this Thanos guy was worse, we have to make better weapons. Well, how can we make better weapons? Look at that Wakanda place. Sure, we can weaponize their tech, then Wakanda's probably not going to want to, there's gonna be some conflict there. Really, that's what Iron Man did also. He was like, I am Iron Man. He came out of his Iron Man closet and everyone's like, okay, give us your tech. And he was like, no. Avengers did this. Like, Avengers established the fact that they were making weapons because of the incidents in Thor 1. Like, oh, gods are real, I guess we have to make better weapons. That's actually what Vulture was doing in Spider-Man Homecoming also, making weapons out of new tech. So really, the weaponization of tech has been a theme. It's been the theme among the Marvel Cinematic Universe since it started. It's actually been a theme in cinema forever. If you've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, the first 20 minutes of that movie illustrates that. When early man found technology, they weaponized said technology. So I can see it going that route, which usually when I theorize about movies and shows, never goes that way, so it probably won't.
Dude, this movie was false advertisement. It should have been called Killmonger featuring Black Panther because he completely stole the fucking show. I mean, I knew Michael B. Jordan was going to be good, no doubt, but the way he was written, the way he was portrayed on screen, the way Michael B. Jordan brought this character to life, it was fantastic. Everything about this movie was great, but wow.
All hail King Killmonger. Michael B. Jordan does, without a doubt, a spectacular job in this film. We all know that. And he gives amazing dialogue and amazing just depth to this character that we end up rooting for him in a way. One question I do have, though, is what if he didn't die in this film? Do you think that he would be a Loki type antagonist, protagonist, and he might be turned to the good side? Or do you think he might just stick to his evil ways? It's kind of hard to tell.
I put those two together because I feel like they work in tandem, but like they're a good pair. You two are a good pair. You never met, but you are, in terms of your one comment anyway. A lot of love for Killmonger, I do agree. Now, to the question, if he didn't die, would he somehow turn to the good side or maybe be an anti-hero later on like Loki? It really speaks volumes for Killmonger in the sense that he was more than happy. He would rather die than go to jail. It would defeat Killmonger's ideology to send him to prison or capture him. And it would definitely slap his character in the face to have him somehow become some anti-hero and play nice with the good guys at one point. Even if it is to go against a greater evil, the best ending for him was to die in this movie. Which now that I said that, I feel like they're gonna bring him back to life now. Totally make me eat my words. If Killmonger ever comes back to life, I can see myself rolling with it for entertainment's sake, but I can't see myself going back on the phrase I speak now, which is Killmonger dying in Black Panther was the cleanest end for Killmonger's character.
One of the really cool things about Black Panther to me was it actually made me emotional, and I actually teared up when Michael B. Jordan's character died. Usually when a villain dies in a movie, I'm like, fuck yeah, die, you piece of shit, I hope you burn in hell. But no, I actually sympathize with him very deeply, and I wanted to ask you, Jeremy, has any film ever made you cry to the villain death?
That is actually a tough one. Villains that I don't think I've shed actual tears for the passing of a villain. There are villains that I can see where they're coming from. Like, you look at Magneto was the earliest example. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I always saw Magneto as like, I am Magneto, master of magnets from the arcade game, and you have to beat me. Then I saw the first X-Men movie by Bryan Singer, and I was like, he's a bit more complex than that. He's just a dude who saw the turning of the tide in a very familiar tide that he had already seen in his childhood, and he's like, we're not doing that again. Now, empathizing with villains is something that happens more often in video games for me than movies, probably because video games have more time to flesh out the villains. One that I can just think of off the top of my head is Magus from Chrono Trigger. Spoilers for Chrono Trigger if you haven't played Chrono Trigger. Point is, when you see his story come full circle after Zeal falls, you're like, I get you. And damn, your story is a really sad one. Some will argue Magus isn't actually the villain, though I would argue he is a villain. He's just not the villain. He's not Lavos. You don't think he's a villain? Ask Glenn Frog. I'm sure he'd say otherwise. It all depends. Perspective. So I'll say that's my answer. Magus from Chrono Trigger.
So a question has come into my head regarding Black Panther, which is that if Wakanda was like isolated and separate from the entire world for like centuries or whatever, like they say at the beginning of the movie, were they completely and totally like away from Hydra or S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything? Like, how come Hydra didn't know anything about this place, but someone like Ulysses Claw knew about this place? Or what would Hydra have done if they knew about it? I think that's kind of an interesting question to answer.
That is a question as old as time. Anytime there's just this super hidden thing and some weird arms dealer or archaeologist is like, I know everything about that. How did that knowledge pass your desk? That's the weird question. I imagine he sold from a guy who bought from a guy who knew someone's best friend, sister's, boyfriend's, brother's, girlfriend's, heard from this guy that Ferris passed out at 31 Flavors last night, and somehow ran across Wakanda. And that somehow knowledge got back to Ulysses Claw. Then again, that would leave a long trail. Like, enough people at that point would know about Wakanda, word would spread. How did he find out? I don't know. Whereas Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., I can see the fact that they don't know, because no one in Wakanda has social media. You imagine that? Like all these selfies all click. Someone's like, what's that background? What's that city? What's that mountain? So no one in Wakanda can really have social media. I feel like they're just off the grid entirely. I suppose that would help in their facade. Other world leaders could be like, can you believe they don't even have Instagram over there in their technologically unadvanced country? However, if anyone from Hydra had strolled into Wakanda in their capital city, they get their balls kicked in. Wakanda ain't messing around, dude. All right, so that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you all for the reactions. I got a lot of reactions. I know a lot of you didn't see your reactions on here. This is actually, of the ones I whittled down to, this is actually half of them. But as this video is running long, and you know I hate long videos, I'm going to cut it off here. This is a good first presentation. Whether or not this happens more in the future, that really largely depends on you guys. If you like it, I'd like to do it again. If you don't like it, no sense in doing something you don't like. So if you do like this segment, you want to see more, you want to see the other half of the Black Panther reactions, get this around out there, get the video some love. It helps me out. Plus, you know, feels good. If people like my shit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what Stardust is, I have the link below. You can download the Stardust app. Follow me on the Stardust app. Once in a while, I'll say, hey, I'll do these Stardust reactions, so you tag me in them. It's fun. In 30-second reviews, you too can review a movie. All right, so this episode, this interaction I'm doing, what do you think about this video? Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.